All right. So in the previous class, we have seen Playwright built-in locators. So how we can locate the web elements using built-in methods provided by Playwright. So today we will see CSS selectors or CSS locators. So how we can locate the element using CSS. So in the next class, I will discuss about the XPath. So today we'll mainly focus on CSS. So CSS is nothing but what? Cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets. So this is the full form of CSS. So this is also most popular and very traditional way to locate the web elements. So even Selenium are also supported CSS and XPath. Same thing in Playwright also supported CSS. So most of the times in our Playwright automation, we will prefer to use CSS. And today we'll see how many ways we can locate the web elements using CSS, cascading style sheets. So normally what is CSS? Why the developer will use CSS? To design the pages. So more attractively, we can design the pages, CSS cascading style sheets. This is the full form of CSS. Okay. So normally the CSS will be used along with the HTML and JavaScript. So normally HTML will be used for what? UI. So like say front end, like a skeleton of the web page. And then JavaScript will be used to add functionality to the elements. And apart from these two, CSS will be also used to make our websites more attractive, like colors, alignment, font, all these things will be normally implemented using CSS. Okay. Yes, so by using these three technologies, most of the websites will be designed: HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. HTML, by using HTML, we can design the elements like buttons, input boxes, text boxes, link, drop downs. All these elements will be designed by using HTML. And to add functionality to those elements, JavaScript will be used. And to design the web pages more in stylish way, like we can add more colors and to make more attractive, we go for CSS. So by combining these three technologies, most of the websites will be designed. Okay. So now we will try to use CSS. Yes. So now we will try to use CSS for locating web elements, especially in automation. We will use CSS locators, selectors to locate the web elements. Even CSS is also mostly works based on the DOM. CSS works based on the DOM itself, based on DOM. So in the yesterday class, I have told you what is DOM, document object model. Whenever you load the page, the DOM will be created by the browser and we can find all the elements information inside the DOM itself. So the CSS XPath will work based on the DOM itself. Okay. So today we'll see how we can locate the web elements using CSS. There are different combinations are there, different ways are there. So we will discuss all of them in today's class. And this is very detailed session today. We will cover all the combinations in CSS and most of the times we will prefer to use CSS in our Playwright automation. But when you go with the Selenium, XPath will be mostly we will use, but when you come to Playwright, CSS will be most useful. High priority will be given to the CSS. Okay. All right. So when you're working with the CSS, first of all, we need to know a few important things. In the last class also, we have seen what is tag, what is attribute of the element, right? So when you look at the DOM, you should be able to understand what exactly the DOM is provided. So you should be able to identify what are the tags, what are the attributes are provided, and what are the text elements are there. So you need to clearly identify those things from the DOM. And then only you will be able to write a proper CSS selectors. Again, in CSS, we have an absolute CSS and relative CSS. Just like an XPath, we have a absolute XPath, relative XPath. Similarly, we also have a absolute CSS and also partial CSS. So we'll see all of them. And first of all, most of the times when I want to use CSS, there are different combinations we can use. So mostly we have something called ID of the elements. Element can have an ID attribute sometimes. And sometimes you may have a class attribute. Okay, and sometimes you can have a class attribute. And other than this ID and class, you can have some other type of attributes, any other type of attributes. Right. So CSS will be worked based on these attributes along with the tags. And by using ID, we can locate the element. We can use ID attribute along with the CSS. We can use class attribute along with the CSS to locate the element. And if we do not have ID and class, we can also use any other attributes which are available for that element along with the CSS to locate the elements. And sometimes we can also use combination like class, tag, class, and attribute. The different combinations we can use. Okay. So for every combination, there are special type of symbols, there are special type of syntax we have to use, right? Now let us see how we can use CSS in our automation to locate the web elements especially. So before going to start writing our code, let me introduce a new website. And we are going to automate few things in this particular website. This is also e-commerce application. It's a demo kind of a website. Okay, so we'll try to locate some elements and we'll perform certain actions by using CSS. And after that, I will also discuss the different combinations of CSS selectors which we can use in our automation, right? So now go back to PyTest and PyChamp, and let's go create new directory for today's class. Today is day 20. Now inside this, I'm going to create a new Python file or Python module. I call it as a test. So whenever you create a new module in PyTest, we should start with the test keyword. Otherwise, PyTest cannot identify the file. This is a mandatory test underscore. And then you can give whatever name you want. I can say CSS Locators. And by default, the Python file is got created. Okay. So first we need to import few things before starting our test. I can say first PyTest I have imported. And after that, from Playwright sync, Playwright dot sync API, we need to import from the Playwright dot sync API, we need to import page class along with the expect. So page is required and expect is required for add validations. Okay. I think somebody is writing something. Please do not do anything. Okay. All right. So now we have just created, we have just imported few things, and then we will start writing the test function. So we can write multiple test functions for different validations, or I can write a single function. I'm just going to write one single test function to demonstrate all the CSS locator. I said def event test function also should start with the test keyword. Okay. So I can say test underscore verify CSS underscore locator. So I'm just giving some name. And whenever you start writing a test function, we have to get the page fixture from the page class. So this is standard. Now, so before start working with the applications, so what is the first step? We need to navigate to the particular web page or application. So for that, we use one method called page.goto. And here we specify the URL of the application. So this will navigate to the page. Okay. Now in this particular page, I'm trying to locate few elements by using CSS selector. So when you're working with the CSS selector, there are different combinations we can use. So let me tell you what are those combinations. The first combination is tag along with ID. This is one combination. So we need to get the tag of the element and ID of the element. If you have these two, we can use CSS. And another one is tag and a class. So if you have a class attribute, we can also try to write our own CSS by using tag and a class. Or we can also use tag or with any other attribute other than ID and class. If ID and class is already there, we can straightforward, we can use ID class with along with the tag attributes. But if we don't have ID and class for that element, then we can depend on any other attributes provided for that element. Tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute. Apart from this, we also have a tag, class, and attribute. This is a third tag, class, and also attribute. By using these three combinations also, we can write our CSS selector. So these are the most common scenarios, most common combinations we will use most of the times. And there are other combinations. There are many things are there. We can also introduce some operator functions. Many things are there. So first we will discuss the basic stuff. Then I will discuss about detailed way. Tag and ID. If you want to locate any element using tag, if you have tag and ID for that element, you can use CSS. Your tag is always there. So if a tag is representing the element, especially, right? So tag is always there in the DOM. We can easily find. But attributes, sometimes we may find, or so sometimes you may not find, right? So sometimes some element we don't find ID. Sometimes ID will be there. Sometimes class will be there. Sometimes we may not have class. And if you don't have ID and class, we need to check some other attribute. Okay. And suppose if I use tag and attribute, and if you have multiple elements are matching, then to filter those elements, we can also add additionally some class, tag class attributes, right? So different combinations also we can use. Same thing, CSS, whatever you already learned in Selenium, same concept is applied in Playwright also. There is no difference in Selenium CSS and Playwright CSS. There is no separate CSS concepts. It is a universal concept. So wherever you go, whichever automation tool used, all CSS selectors, locators, exactly same. Even XPath is also universal. So these two won't change anywhere. Okay, if you go for Cypress also, or Playwright or Selenium. So suppose tomorrow if any new tool come into market, if they are supporting CSS and XPath, the concepts are exactly the same. There is no difference at all. Okay. Now, so let us see how we can use these combinations in Playwright. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to locate some element using ID and tag and ID combination. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is, you can say there is a simple search box. Now, if I inspect this element, and you can see what are the attributes are there for ID. Tag is input. And do we have ID for this element? Yes, we have a ID of this element. So can we use CSS with these two combinations? Yes, we can use it. Let's go and locate the element. So by using CSS, if you want to locate the web element, Playwright is provided one method called locator method. Okay. So how we can use it? Tag and ID combination I'm using. So tag and ID combination. So to locate the web element by using CSS or XPath or whatever it is, Playwright is provided one method called locator method. So how we can use it? You can simply say page dot locator. Page.locator. So this is the method we use. So inside this bracket, we can put either CSS or you can put XPath. All types of locators are supported by using this locator method. So page.locator, and here, when I use a tag and ID combination in CSS, we have to use something called hash symbol, hash. So how we can combine these two in CSS? Tag name, hash ID. So in CSS, wherever you see hash, that is actually representing ID. Hash is representing ID. Similarly, tag and class we can divide using dot. So dot is always representing a class. Similarly, tag and attribute we can divide using square bracket. So square bracket is representing an attribute. So here you can put one attribute along with the value. So hash is representing ID, dot is representing a class, and square bracket is representing an attribute, and tag class attribute is a combination. So how we can say tag class? How we can specify the class? Using dot class, and attribute. How we can specify attribute? Inside the bracket. So here we can specify the attribute equal to value. So this is a syntax actually. So these are the syntaxes. So accordingly, we have to design our own locators. Okay. Now tag and ID, how we can specify? Tag name, hash ID. So what is the tag name of this element? Input is a tag name. So in the bracket, input is my tag name. Input is my tag name, hash. What is the value of ID here? Small hyphen search items. This is the value of ID that you can specify. So this is the combination of tag and a ID. If you have an ID, you can directly use it. So this will able to locate the web element. Now, what type of element it is? It is an input box or text box. What is the action we can do in this? We can fill the text. We can fill the text. So to fill the text, what is the method we have used yesterday? Using fill. Here we can pass the value. So I can simply pass some value, t-shirts, like this. So this particular statement will locate the element, and after that, it will fill the value inside the text box. Okay. So this is how we can simply go and get the element and put the value inside the input box. So this is how we can use tag and ID combination. Now, In the tag and ID combination, so what is the separator we have used? Hash, right? So here, when you use tag and ID, tag is optional. Tag is a optional. Even though if you don't specify the tag, still it will work fine. Same thing, we can write like this. So for example, here, I comment this. Now, if you want to remove this tag, then we can simply remove this. This is also correct. This is also syntax supported. So if we have to use only single ID in CSS, you can simply say hash the value of ID. Either you can go with this one or this one. So in all these combinations, tag is optional. In all this combination, tag is an optional. This is not mandatory. Okay. So both are correct. So let's go and execute this. And also I will put some time here so that we will able to see whether it is properly enter the value on the box or not. So in yesterday we have seen the timeout. What is that method? Page dot wait for timeout. I say 5000 milliseconds. It is just for pausing the code. Just I want to see whether it is properly launch my page and properly enter that value. Okay, let's run this code. So to run this code, what we can do, we need to just go here first and modify run configuration. You can run through command prompt also. And but here, if you want to run through UI, we can pass additional arguments here. So by default, it will follow Chromium browser. I want to run in headed mode, hyphen headed, and say apply. So from next onwards, if I run this test like this, by default, it will run in headed mode. Okay. So now I'm running the test and see how it is going to work. So now you can see this is launched my page. Now you can see it is exactly entered the value in the input box. So this is how we can locate the element using CSS. So tag is optional. Even though if you don't put the tag, still it will work. Okay. Now let us see another combination, tag and class combination. Tag and class. Tag and class. So tag and class is divided with dot. Dot is a symbol. Dot is representing class in CSS. So let us see how we can do that. So let's comment this. Again, in this tag and class, tag is an optional. So let us try to find the same element. This time I'm trying to use a tag and a class combination. Tag and a class combination. So let's see how we can use tag and a class combination. I can go back to the DOM and locate the same element. Right click on the input box, inspect, and the same element I'm taking, same tag name input. And do we have a class attribute for this? Class. Yes, here it is. This is our class attribute. Okay. So now we can use tag and a class, the combination we can use. So let us go back. Tag and a class. So what is the method? Page dot locator in double quotation. Tag name is what? Input. And how we can divide tag and class using dot. And what is the value of the class here? This is the value of the class. Like this, we need to keep. Okay. And sometimes what happens is in your application, if the value, this is one word actually, and there is one space, and after that, there is another word. Sometimes what happens is if there is any space between two words, it cannot locate that element. Okay. So after the space, whatever the value which we have, we can ignore it. We can simply pass the first part. Sometimes may work, sometimes may not work. You need to cross check once. Okay. So if you have a space like this, sometimes if we provide the full text, it won't work sometimes. So you can just copy the first one and go back. And then here I will just provide only the first part, not the complete value of the class. Most of the time it is a single word, but sometimes you can see 2-3 words by giving some spaces. So after spaces, whatever is there, you can ignore for sometimes. So this is the tag name and this is the value of the class. Now this will able to locate the element. And after that, I can use fill. So here I can fill the data with that some value. Again, in this tag name is optional. So you can also write the same thing without using tag. I can simply remove this and you need to start with the dot because dot representing a class. Dot value of the class. So this will also able to locate the web element. So both are same. Now I'm running the first one. Again, I will put the timeout page dot wait for timeout 5 seconds. So let's go and run it now. So right click, run. Same element, same value I'm filling, but I'm using class attribute. Now you can see this is located this element. Okay, so now this is tag and the class. So how we can separate them? By using dot we can separate, and the tag is optional. In all the combinations, a tag is optional. Okay, so if you use tag, you can straightforward, you can start with hash and value of the ID. Similarly, if you want to use a class, then you can say dot and a class. So next one is tag and attribute. Suppose you don't have an ID or class, then you can use any other attribute of the element. Even if you have ID and class also, you can use ID class as an attribute because they are also attributes actually, right? So now let us see how we can use tag and attribute value. So let's comment this. Tag and the attribute. Tag and attribute. Okay, so now let us go to the same element again. So how we can get the DOM? Simply guys, so right click on page wherever you want, say inspect, and you will see the DOM here. And you can see the inspector option here. And you can locate whichever element you want. You can just take the inspector and highlight the element, whichever element you want to highlight like this. You can just click on that element and you can see corresponding text or the code or script is displayed on the DOM here. These are the details about that element. Suppose if you want to see the element details about the logo, see this is IMG tag. So these are the details about the logo. So like this, you can inspect any of the element. So I will also introduce Selector Hub in few minutes. And meanwhile, let us see this first without Selector Hub. Okay. So again, I'm go and look at this element. And you can see now this time, even though we have an ID and a class, this time I just want to use some other attribute. So what are the other attributes are there? And whenever you are picking the attributes, make sure they are unique attributes. So for example, if I look at the type equal to test, so this is a common attribute most of the elements are having. So whenever you see text element in the same page somewhere else, even that element is also having type equal to text most of the times. So you always try to pick the unique kind of attributes. And for example, let's say name. So name will be different most of the time. So it is a unique attribute. So what I'm going to do this time, I'm taking tag and attribute. So what attribute I'm taking? Name attribute I will take. So let's see how we can do this. So tag and attribute, right? So again, page dot locator, double quotation. What is the tag name? Input is a tag name. So what is the syntax of this? Tag dot, sorry, tag and square bracket. So after tag, I'll put square bracket. So inside the square bracket, we need to just specify the attribute and the value of the attribute. Just copy as it is. Attribute and the value of the attribute. Go back and paste it over here. And when you're specifying this attribute and value, don't use any singular double quotations. And you need to put this entire CSS in the double quotes. But inside this, the variable and the value, you should not keep in the double quotation. But in HTML in the DOM, you can see that value in double quotations. But when you use this inside the CSS, you should not put any double or single quote. So this is the plain CSS we have to use. And input is a tag. Name equal to Q is what? An attribute. So this will look at the element. And now I'm filling some text here called say t-shirt. So same element again. And different ways I'm locating the element by using different combinations of CSS. And again, tag is an optional here. If you do not want to specify the tag, you can simply remove the tag. Just specify bracket, inside the bracket, say attribute and a value. That's it. So this will able to locate the element. Now, let us see whether it's locating element or not. Okay, now it is launch my page. Enter that value here. Okay, so this is the combination of tag and attribute. So tag and ID, tag class, tag attribute. So we can also combine tag class and also attribute, tag class attribute. So when to go with the tag class attribute? Because tag and class, we already have this combination. But additionally, why we need to go with the tag class and attribute? Because tag and class is already there, right? And if you look at this tag class and additionally, we are adding attribute. So sometimes what happens is when I use tag and class combinations, it may locate multiple elements, but you are looking for unique element, a specific element you want to locate. So in that case, what happens, along with the tag and class, you can specify additionally some attribute of the particular element, whichever element you are looking for. So then it is able to filter actually. If you have multiple elements and if you specify the particular attribute, whichever element you want to locate, and it will filter that. So that's the reason we can add additional attribute along with the tag and the class. So that time it will be very useful. So let's see how we can use tag, class, and also attribute. The next combination, tag, class, attribute. Okay, again, same locator I'm using. So I can say page dot locator, right? So what's the tag name? Input. What is a class? Class we already used here. So this is the class, input dot class. So this is actually what tag and class. Additionally, we have to specify the attribute. How to specify the attribute? Using bracket. So we already have an attribute used here. Same attribute, I'm trying to use it here. So or else you can use any other attribute. Other than this, if you have any other attribute, you can simply use that attribute. Okay, so let's see if there are any other attributes for this element. So you can see value is there. You can see value. Can we use this attribute? Yes. So let's go back and capture this value. Go back. Instead of name, you can also say value. And when you're specifying this text, previously we haven't specified anything right here. Name equal to, I just put only Q. Why? Because this is a single letter actually. This is a single letter, right? So, but here, if you put like this will throw some error because there is a space here. But after space, whatever is there, that will be treated differently. So in this case, what we need to do, if you put double quotes, then there is a problem. So double quotes inside the double quotes are not allowed because the entire CSS is a part of the double quote. But again, inside the double quotes, we are using another double quotes. So this will be conflict actually. So to avoid this, simply use single quotations. We can put single quotation like this. Okay, so there is one rule actually. Inside the double quotations, we cannot use again double quotations. Similarly, inside the single quotations, again, we cannot use single quotations. But inside the double quotations, we can use single quotations. Similarly, inside the single quotations, we can use double quotations. So these are the different combinations you need to remember. So here, this is all part of double quotations. But inside this, I have used single quotation. That is fine. Or you can put this whole thing in single quotation and here you can use double quotations. So both the ways are correct. Okay. So remember this. But if you have a single value like this, sometimes you no need to put any single or double quotations. But if you have a multiple values or if you have a space in the value, you should put inside the single or double quotes. Because anyway, we put everything in the double quotes. So we just use single quotation. So this is tag, class, and attribute. Everything is covered. Now here I can say fill the value. So this is how we can use tag, class, attribute. Again, here tag is optional. So even though if you don't specify the tag, if you put only this part, still this will work. Okay. So let's say, so you can put like this page.locator tag is an optional. You can remove the tag, but you should start with the dot. Whenever you say class, it should start with the dot and a dot class. And this is an attribute. And after that, we are filling the value inside this box. And now page dot wait for timeout and then 5000 milliseconds. Let's run and see one more time. So 3 combinations, tag, class, and attribute. Okay. Yes. So this is how we can simply locate the elements using CSS locator. So even the tag and attribute combination, we can use single quote. Tag and attribute. So when I use a tag and attribute here, so this is an attribute actually. So whenever you find a value like it's a single character only, right? So you don't need to put, even if you put single character here, it will work. Nothing wrong. Okay, but whenever you say value equal to attribute value, so the value should always include either single quotation or double quotation. Okay, so these are the few combinations. Most of the time we prefer this. Either tag and ID, tag and class, tag and attribute, tag class attribute. But other than this, there are other type of combinations are there that different methods. We can also specify multiple attributes. We can use a different type of operators in CSS. There are many things are there. So we will discuss in detail. Okay. So now I will discuss all of them. Once I finish, then I'll start asking the questions. Okay. Still I have not completed this. So now let us see few more combinations. These are the most popular combinations. We can manage with them most of the times. But other than this, we have to learn few more things which we need sometimes when you're automating the test. So for that, I'm taking an application, and to demonstrate this, different types of CSS. Okay. So let's minimize this. Let's go to this application. So I'll try to demonstrate a different type of CSS to locate the elements. And I will try to cover all the combinations. At the end of the session, I will provide the notes for each and every example, whatever I'm discussing here. And you can just go through and try to understand. Okay, so before practicing CSS, we should also have a tool called SelectorHub. So SelectorHub is a plugin which is available for all the browsers, which will help us to generate CSS automatically. And also we can test our CSS is correctly locating element or not. So normally what we are doing, we are just inspecting the element and going to the DOM and identifying the element here, identifying the tags and properties. Accordingly, we are writing our own CSS. But when you install Selector Hub, whenever you locate this element, automatically it will generate the CSS. We just copy and paste and use it. Also, suppose if you already created your own CSS, we can also cross check or we can test the CSS is correctly locating element or not using Selector Hub. And not only CSS, Selector Hub is also helpful for displaying all other attributes of the elements, and also XPath will be very, very useful. So when you're creating the XPaths and all. So now let us see how we can use Selector Hub for the browser. So very simple. What you need to do is you need to go to Chrome Web Store. Okay, so just go to Chrome Web Store. This is completely free available. So you can just go to Chrome Web Store and you can just search for Selectors Hub and you will see this one. So just you need to click on this. And here I already added this to my Chrome browser. So I'm not getting that option, but in your case, you will see here add to Chrome. So once you click on this add to Chrome, then you will able to see the multiple places. You can see here, once you open this, right click and open and inspect this DOM. Here in the right side window, you can see all the tabs here, computed, layout, event, listeners, and so on. If I expand this, you can see this. And even if you just drag like this, you can see the another tab. This is our Selector Hub tab. This is one place we can see. And you can, even if you right click on the space, suppose if you want to locate this element and just right click here, you can see the Selector Hub and you can see all the options: copy ID, copy name, relative XPath, relative CSS, JS path, test trigger path, absolute XPath. There are multiple options you can see here. And not only here, and you can also see here. Not this. This is test case studio. So here in the plugins also you can see, but I have not added here. Otherwise, you will see that also. You can just go here and you can see Selector Hub. I'm just pinning it here. Now you can see this is the Selector Hub. Here also you can see like another window. So there are multiple places you can see the Selector Hub. So this is the way we need to just install. Go to the Chrome Web Store, search for Selector Hub, add to Chrome. And this is available for all the browsers and you can install whichever browser you want. So now we'll see how we can create a different type of CSS selectors by using Selector Hub. I'll show you different combinations. Okay, listen this concept carefully. I will answer all the questions at the end of the session. Now, suppose right click on this, inspect. Now I got this Selector Hub. So here, this is the box. And whenever you look at the some element, you can see all the locators automatically displayed here. So these are the different options. These are all different locators. And this is the absolute XPath, and this is jQuery, and this is the relative XPath of that element. This is the CSS of that element. Okay, these are all the different locators automatically generated. We can just copy paste and use it. But now we are going to create our own CSS and we will see how exactly we can work with the different combinations of CSS selector. Now just observe how exactly CSS works. CSS mainly works based on the tags of the elements, and then it will give the priority to the attributes. So for example, what is the root node of this DOM or the HTML page? What is the root node? All these elements and everything is part of the HTML. HTML is a root tag. HTML is a root tag. Under the HTML, you can find everything. So if you just type HTML, this is also CSS actually. When you just give only HTML, one element is matching. What is that element? What is this element actually? It is an entire web page, because the entire web page, everything is a part of the HTML, which is a root node. So when you say only HTML tag, which is pointing one element, what is that element? The entire page itself has a one element. Okay. Suppose I want to locate only header part, header of this element. So where the head part is there inside the HTML. So now we need to go to header tag. Where is the header tag is present inside the HTML. So here we can navigate from one tag to another tag by using either space or by using greater than symbol, greater than head. Now observe one element is matching. What does it mean? It is actually CSS pointing to head. Head is a tag here. So under head again, there are multiple things are there. Okay. And suppose I want to capture the title. So this is the title element. Now I want to locate this element. So how to specify now? Navigation. We go to HTML first. From there we go to header tag. Inside the header, title is there. So again, one more greater than and title. Now you can look at this. Exactly one element is matching. What is that element? This is the element. Okay, this is the element. So this type of CSS is called absolute CSS. Absolute CSS is nothing but what? We are providing the complete path. So to locate this title element, we navigated from the root node HTML, then we went to header, then we went to title. So three levels, HTML, header, and title. So then when you write this, then only we will able to locate this element. This is called absolute CSS. Okay. Now let us say I have something here. This is the title inside the header. Now what else we have inside this? Let's go back and see. So inside the header, if I go back and this title, there are two links are there again. So this is the link, this is link, this is the script. And yeah, so now if I go back and see the body section now. Body section. Inside the body section, we have this basic web page example. I want to locate this one. Sorry guys, so this is pointing to a different one actually. So this title is there, right? So inside the header and title is not visible on the web page actually. So whatever is displaying basic web page title, it is not displayed anywhere in the page. You can see this is a hidden actually. But if I go back and see the body section, this header is displaying here. Basic web page example. This is the one. Now I want to locate this element using CSS. So then how we can write the CSS? So where exactly the H1 is located? Tell me the hierarchy. First, we need to go to HTML. And again, inside the HTML, we have a two tags. In which tag the header is present? Inside the header or body? In which tag? Inside the body, right? From where we need to navigate from HTML. From HTML to body, we need to navigate, not header. So let's go back. HTML to body. Now body element is pointing. Now from the body, again, inside the body, there is a div tag. Inside the div, there are multiple options. So first we need to go to one div tag. Inside the body, there is a div. So now from the body, go to the div. Now one element. Okay, there is only one div here inside the body. So one element is matching. Now what is our target element? H1 is our target element. Now, if I look at here, this is one div. After that H1, then again, three div tags are there actually. So these are all siblings, or these are all child tags of one parent div tag. This is the parent actually. This is the parent. Inside the parent, these are all the child tags. First div is one child. H1 is not part of this div actually. Again, this div is having multiple divs. So H1 is an independent element. So we have navigated from HTML, body, then div tag, sorry, HTML, body, this div tag, inside the div, H1. So here we can simply say H1. All are tag names only. I have not provided any attribute. Now we can see this particular CSS is able to locate this element. This is called absolute CSS. We are just using only attribute. Sorry, we are just using only tags. We are not using any attributes. And simply we are navigating from one tag to another tag and we are trying to locate a particular element. Okay. Now you should tell me now. So I'm just going to open some other div. Let's say, yeah. So I want to locate this one. So a paragraph of text. Yeah, so here it is. So a paragraph of text. I'm just refreshing once. And let's close this. So this is the element I want to locate, a paragraph of text. So this is the element I want to locate. So if I inspect this element and see the hierarchy, where it is actually, I'm asking about absolute XPath again. So where exactly it is? This is the one. P is a tag name, ID is there, class is there. So we can happily locate this element using tag and ID or tag and class or tag, class and attribute. Previously, whatever combinations we have seen, we can still use them. But here I'm trying to show you absolute XPath. Means we need to start from the beginning. So now tell me where from where we need to start. HTML, right? So go back to the selector hub. HTML. Yeah. So from the HTML, where we need to go? Body, inside the body. So HTML greater than body. Now, inside the body, there is one main div tag is there. So the main div tag, right? So inside the main div tag here, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements are there inside this div. And again, how many divs are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 divs are there. 4 divs are there. Remember, 4 divs are there. Now, if I just say only one div, 4 elements are matching. So why 4 elements? Because inside this div, there are 4 div tags. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 div tags. But which one we need here? Second or third? Third one actually. So third div tag we require. In the third div tag, again we need this particular element, para1. Right? So we need to go to third div tag. So this is the main div tag. Inside the main div tag, I am going to the 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 div tags are there. I want to go to the third div tag. So again, if I put only this div, it is pointing to all the divs actually. But I just want to go to the particular thing. But can we specify index here? Just like XPath. In XPath, it's provided like in index is provided. Like if I say 1, first one will be matched. If I say 2, second one will be matched. Second one will be matched. But here we cannot directly use an array concept to providing the index. So instead of that, what we need to do, we need to just provide the attribute. Again, if you provide the attribute P, 4 elements are matching because with this P, there are 4 elements are there inside every div. If I look at here, in the first div, no P's. Second div is also the P's are there. Even the third div also P's are there. Right? But we need to specifically set one attribute here. There is no other way. So how we can specify the attribute? This is a tag and attribute. Attribute, how we can specify in the bracket. And ID, so we can specify any attribute. I'm just saying ID. So ID equal to single quotation para 1. Now you can look at this. Exact element is matching. So this is actually the combination of absolute and relative CSS. So whatever we are using here, this is actually relative CSS. And this part is an absolute CSS. And also whatever the combinations we have seen here previously, these are all relative CSS because we are not written the entire path of that element from the root node. So these are all comes under relative CSS. But here we have written the combination of this one and this one. Even if you don't specify all these things, still it will work, because tag and attribute specifically be specified, it will directly jump to the element it will identify. But I just want to show you, this is one of the combination. So this is a absolute CSS and this is a relative and a combination of both. So this will able to locate that element. And instead of para1, can we use a class here? Class equal to main, class equal to sub is there. Can we use class here? Yes. So instead of ID, I can also use class. So what is a class we can use? Let's say main. When I say main, now the first element. So a paragraph of text is matched. This is matched. And similarly, class equal to sub. So instead of main, I'll say sub. Now the second element is matching, which is another paragraph of text. Okay, so you can use the combination of absolute and relative XPath. And when you're writing the relative XPath here, I'm used tag and the attribute concept. Tag and the attribute concept. Okay, and also tag and ID also you can use here. If you want to use tag and ID instead of attribute, can we use tag and ID? So P is a tag. And how to differentiate tag and ID? Using hash. So P hash. And what is an ID of the element here? Para1. I can say para1. Still element is matching. So this is an absolute and this is a relative combination. And why we need to specify the additional attribute? Because there are multiple P's are there. In every div tags, there are multiple P's are there. So that's the reason if we just say only P, it will able to locate group of elements or multiple elements. We can't get the unique element. So that's the reason additionally we have to specify some attribute related to that element. And similarly, we can also specify multiple attributes. So for example, let's say P is a tag. Inside this, I say ID equal to para1. One element is matching, 0 element. One element is matching. Again, can you put another attribute like a class? Yes. If you want to put another attribute, you can just put one more bracket and say class equal to, you can say main or sub. So this is also fine. So you can add n number of attributes like this. When I say tag and attribute, not only single attribute, you can also add multiple attributes for that element. Okay. So this is how we can also create our own CSS, and you can cross check. When I press enter, the selector hub is clearly saying one element is matching. So before using the CSS in our automation, you can cross check whether it's properly locating element or not, and then you can go and use it. And even if you see the selector hub also, as soon as you locate the element, it is automatically generating the relative CSS selector. Can you look at this? If I paste it over here, it is pointing. It is basically what type of combination it is used. It first go to div of class page body, and from there it will go to h1. Again, you can use greater than or space, anything is fine. So this is a locator. So there are many ways to do it. Okay, we cannot say this is right and this is not right. Okay, so ultimate goal is what? We should able to locate the element, and whichever way you have written the locator, that doesn't matter. Ultimately, we should able to locate the element. So these are all absolute XPaths. And CSS selector with relative is nothing, but these are all relative XPaths. And let me show you few of them. Again, let's say I want to locate all the P's. This time I'm talking about relative, not absolute. We are not going to start from the beginning. So what is the difference between absolute and relative? Absolute CSS is nothing but what? We need to start from the root node and navigate to each and every tag till we find that particular element. That's called absolute path or absolute CSS. Relative CSS is nothing but what? We can directly write a CSS by using some attribute or by using some combination. So in that case, it won't navigate to each and every tag. So directly it will jump to that particular element. For example, there are multiple paragraphs are there in this page. I want to match with all the paragraphs. So like here that there are two P's are there, and here there is one more P here. So I want to match all the paragraphs in this page. Simply what you can do, all paragraphs are there part of the body itself. So you can simply say body space P. That's it. 4 paragraphs are there. And also you can put the greater than here. 0 element. Why 0 here? When you put greater than, why it is 0? Because when you say greater than, that is actually representing the child element. Okay, greater than representing the immediate child element. So do we have a p tag inside the body directly? No, right? Inside the body, we have a div tags here. Inside the body, we have a single div tag is there, but we don't have a p directly inside the body. So greater than is just used for navigating to the next element, next immediate child element. But if I give one space, it will directly get this element wherever it is inside the body. Because here the P is not an immediate child. But ultimately, indirectly, the P is also part of the body only, right? Even if it is a part of any other div tags, it is still part of under body itself. So when I say greater than, it is assuming the P is a just immediate child of the body. That's the reason there is no immediate child, so it is zero element is matching. But when you say space here, so wherever the P's are there inside the body, it will get you. Now it is returning 4 elements. Now exactly I want a specific element, like I want to get this one or a paragraph of test. So how we can get this? We need to specify the ID of the specific web element. For example, if I look at this, let's again, I'm taking some ID or any other attribute. So body, P, and this is one. 4 elements are matched. Again, still we can filter it. How we can filter? Put some attribute. Let's say ID equal to para 1 or 2. One element is matching. So if I say only P, matching with many elements. But if I add filter, then it is matching one element. And instead of attribute, we can also directly put like this. We can say simply P hash ID. How we can representing ID using hash? What's the value of ID? Para 1. Para 1. This is also correct. One element is matched. Either we can specify attribute or we can specify hash. Hash is representing an ID. So this is actually tag and ID combination. This is also relative CSS. Okay. So similarly, you can also specify only attribute. All the combinations, whatever we have seen here, these are all applicable. These are all comes under relative CSS, relative CSS. And apart from this, there is another important thing we have. Suppose if I have a group of elements, I want to get the first element or last element or a middle element. Then how we can do this? So for example, let's say here, I directly go to body of this element. It is pointing to the entire body. Now inside the body, there is one div tag here, one div tag. So inside the body, I'd say div, only one single div, one element is matching. Now observe, inside this main div, how many divs are there totally? How many divs are there? First, second, third, fourth. Totally 4 div tags are there. But among these 4 div tags, I want to capture the first div tag. I want to capture the first div tag. So if you specify this div, again 4 elements are matching. But I want to get the first div tag, first one. So then what you can say, body greater than div, first go to body, then go to div here. And inside the div, I want to get the first div. These are all child elements of the parent div. How many child elements are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. So first element I want. Simply what we can do greater than star colon first child. See, SelectorsHub is automatically giving the suggestions. Star colon, star again representing some tag name. Okay, so star colon first child. So if I look at this, this is exactly pointing to the first div tag, first element, first div tag. Similarly, I want to get the last div tag, last one. So instead of first child, you can simply say last hyphen child. So last element you will get. So this is pointing the last child. Suppose I want to get some middle of div. So not first one, not last one. So in the middle again, there are 2 div tags are there. So I want to match one of them. So let's say I want to match second or third. Then you can use another keyword called nth child, star colon nth child of. Here you can specify the number. So which div tag? When I say first one will match. When I say second one match. When I say third, fourth, like this. So I can pass a number here. So these are the 3 options we have. Nth, star dot. When we can use this? Only if we have a multiple childs. So under this div tag, there are multiple divs are there. So in this multiple div tags, not only div tags, it can be some any element. Even if you have a 4 input boxes now, let us assume we have a 4 input boxes, 4 of them are called input tags. Then I want to capture the first input box. Then you can write like this. So you can use the first child, last child, nth child. So these are the three options are available: first child, last child, and nth child. So we can select the specific child element from the parent element. So first we need to go to parent element, and we can grab the particular child element, whichever child element we need here. So this is how we can specify we can grab the child element from the parent element. And we can also specify some kind of a regular expressions, which is also called as a pattern matching. So let us see how we can use pattern matching. Again, so I want to locate. Now go to the second, not third div tag. Again, there are two elements are there, para 1, para 2. So I want to locate the para 1. So normally how to write an XPath with a combination of class and attribute or tag and attribute. P is a tag, and inside this bracket we can specify the attribute. So attribute, what is an attribute we can use? Either ID we can use or class we can use. I say ID or class. So I'm using class. Let's say class equal to. And here you can specify the value. What's the value? Main. So this will able to match one element. What is that element? This is the one. A paragraph of text. Now here I provided the complete value of the class. But I want to just specify, I don't want to specify the complete class, but I just want to specify the class is starting with MA. I'm not specifying the complete value. Suppose if I enter 0 element, but I want to specify explicitly specify my class name is starting with MA. To specify this, we can use one symbol here called caret symbol. So from your keyboard, you can find it, caret symbol. So this caret symbol is representing start with. So in XPath, we have a start with, right? Contains, there are certain methods are there. Similarly here, caret is representing a start with. So when you say a character, here we no need to specify the complete value of the attribute. You can simply say only one or two characters. Now if I look at this, one element is matching. Okay, so this is a caret symbol, which is representing a single, which is representing start with. Similarly, we also have an end with. End with. For example, let's say here I'm removing this. I say sub. Class value is equal to sub. Now the second element is matching. This is a para 1 element. Another paragraph of text. This is matching. But this time I don't want to pass, or I want to specify it should be end with UB. It should end with UB. Then you can say $, class $, equal to end with UB. So remove the first character. So now this is also matching the same element. So start with, end with. For start with, we can use caret symbol. For end with, we can use a $ symbol. Okay, but I want to specify some middle characters, not the start one and end one. Then how we can specify? Okay, for example, let's say I can take the main, MAIN. But here I say only AI. AI. So what is AI? Where it is? It is not starting with AI, and also it is not ending with the AI, but it is a middle string actually. So if you want to provide the middle string, some part, then you can use star. Star is representing anything. It can be starting with the string can be starting with AI or end with AI, or AI can be the middle of the characters. Wherever it is matching. Okay, so either the string can start with, or the class name is start with AI or end with AI, or it can be middle of the value. Wherever it is, this is able to match. So one element is matching. So these are few characters we have. So first one is caret, which is basically representing start with. $sign is representing end with. Star is representing everywhere. Starting, ending, and middle. All of three. Okay. Similarly, we can also specify and or not. Different operators we can use. I will provide the notes each and every step. Later you can go through. Don't be confused. Right. So now I'm going to show you how we can specify multiple attributes. I already shown you, right? So I can say, suppose again, paragraph. When I say P, 4 elements are matching. Now I want to go to exactly this paragraph of text, this element. So I can use this ID as an attribute. P in the bracket, I say ID equal to para1. So this is matching with that element. Okay, that's still fine. In addition, I want to specify another attribute. So let's say class. Class is also there, right? So class equal to, I say main. So now in this, I'm just provided two attributes. So when this CSS able to look at this element, suppose I have given one attribute here. This is correct. If I give the second attribute incorrect, will you able to locate the element? For example, here I'm giving some invalid attribute, 0 element, not matching. So in this particular syntax, or if I provide multiple attributes, all attributes should be satisfied, or all attributes should be true. Then only this CSS will able to locate the element. That means the first attribute and the second attribute, both should be satisfied. Even the first one is not correct, for example, 0 element. Right? Both attributes should be correct. Then only this CSS will able to locate the element. It is working just like an AND. AND means what? The first one and second, both should return true. Then only it will able to locate the element. Okay, so now I just slightly change this. You can say P colon, I say not operator I'm using. Not. Okay. Before that, let me show you this. For example, let's say P ID equal to para1. And let us try to remove the second one. Okay. So this is anyway locating one element. Now what I'm going to do is I just want to apply negation. Negation means what? I want to locate other elements which are not having ID para1. I'm going to locate the elements which are not having ID para1. So this particular CSS will locate the element which is having ID para1. But I want to locate the element which are not having ID para1. Then we can negate this. So how we can P colon not. But when I say use a not operator, the whole thing we should put in the open brackets. So this part, this entire part we need to keep inside the, because not is a function kind of thing. So we need to pass this attribute as a parameter inside the not function. So this is able to match with 3 elements which are not having ID para1. Except this para1 element, it is locating all other 3 elements. You can look at this. So first one, last one is located, but this is not located. Why? Because we are saying para1, not para1. But actually para1 element is what? The middle one. Except this, other elements are matching. This is a negation actually. So when I use a negation, not, you should put them in the open bracket. And similarly, we can also specify other attribute. So this is one attribute, right? So similarly, I will also put some other attribute. Let's say here I'm adding another attribute called class equal to sub. Now when I say this, one element matching. Why it is matching one element? Because here I'm saying not para1, right? But still it is able to matching with this element. Why? It is matching with the element. Why? Because you can see that previously, if I'm not using this not operator, when you provide these two attributes, if both are correct, then only it is matching with this element. Then only it is locating element. If both attributes are correct in the previous case. But now what I'm saying, not the first attribute is not, but second attribute is yes. So even though the first attribute is not matching, if the second attribute is matching with the element, then locate that element. Okay, this is like an OR operator. In OR operator, what will happen? Either first one or second one, at least one should be satisfied. But in this combination, the first one is not satisfied, but the second one is satisfied. So it is going to locate the element. So instead of sub, even if you say main also, 0. Why it is 0? because it is a not para 1, but class equal to main. Class equal to main is there. So this is there, class equal to main. But first one is not matching, but the second one is matching here. Just a second. Let me rewrite once again. So I say P colon not. Inside the open bracket, we need to specify the attribute. So here I can say ID equal to para 1. This is the actual thing. So 3 elements are matching. When I say not, other than this para 1, all other elements are matching. But if I add another one, so I say class equal to, let's say sub or main, whatever. So one element is matching. So first one is not satisfied, but second one is satisfied, it is matching. So vice versa also we can use. So vice versa, how we can use? We can put both not. The first one is not, even the second one is also not. Let's say make it as a main 0 element. Now the second one is also not. How we can put this? Colon not, again put everything in the open bracket. Now not first attribute, not second attribute. 3 elements are there. Not first attribute, not second attribute. 3 elements are there. So ID should not be para 1 and the class should not be main. So it will combine both actually. So by combining both, it will get the element. So here the P does not have ID para 1 and not class main. That is the meaning of this particular combination. Okay, so this is how we can also specify the different combinations. So now let me show you another one. So P, I say P bracket ID equal to para 1. So this is matching first element. Now, when I say after this first P, this is the element, right? After this, there is another element. Below this, there is another element. Now, by using this CSS, I want to locate the below element because these P's are both the siblings. So what are the siblings means? Having same parent. So this para 1, para 2 having same parent. So now I have written CSS for what? The first paragraph element. Now by using this, I want to get the sibling element. Simply what you can do, use plus operator. I can say plus P. So this will point into the sibling element. This is actually pointing to para 2 element because para 1 plus P. This P is representing the sibling of para 1. So we can also get the sibling element like this, below sibling, not the above sibling. Okay. So for example, let's say another example. I say only head. Head means what? One element. So inside the head, there are multiple elements. These are all child elements. Now I want to get all these elements inside the header tag. Simply you can say plus. If I say plus a title, then what will happen? 0 element. Head is a main element. Inside the head, I said title. Because title is not a sibling of head. Right? Title is not a sibling of head. Title is a child element of parent. Head is a parent, title. But if I look at here, title, link, script, these are all sibling elements. These are all sibling elements, right? So now what I'm doing is header greater than title. Now this is matching with the title. So from this, I want to get the script element, the last one. Can we get the script element? When I say plus script, 0 element. Why? Why it is 0 element here? Because this is the last element. So the plus will get you the immediate sibling element. Even though for title is a script is a child element for the title. But still we are not getting it because this is the last element. Is a last element. So the plus operator here we can use to get immediate sibling of that particular element. Not all the siblings. Okay. So you can use. But now if you want to get everything, simply you can go with the head and simply say plus star. Star is regular expression and one element. So head plus a star means under head, whatever elements are there, it is matching with all the elements. Any tag right after any tag right after header tag. So for this header tag, whatever the siblings are there, it will return. So for head, what is the other sibling we have? Sibling. What's the sibling of head tag here? Body, right? For header tag, body is a sibling. For both, HTML is a one parent. So there is only one sibling is there for this. So that's the reason it is writing one element here. Okay, so this is how we can get the siblings. Okay, so these are all different combinations, guys. So different type of CSS we can write. Okay, so there is no confusion. I will share this notes, each and every combination. So whatever I have discussed, I provided this notes. You can just do one round of practice and slowly you will understand how to use, because every day, almost in every example, I will try to use different type of CSS. So after 4 or 5 sessions, you will be more familiar with the CSS, how to generate the CSS and everything. There are many other combinations also there. I will also discuss on the fly. So once we in progress, so I will discuss as and when it is needed. So these are the basic things, guys, how we can use different things. We have seen how to use absolute CSS selectors, and these are the different relative CSS selectors, and these are the different options: first, last, and nth child. We can also specify the start with, end with, and using regular expressions. And these are the different combinations. Negation, these are for immediate sibling elements. If you want to get, you can use plus operator. And these are the most common combinations most of the time we use: tag ID combination, tag and class, tag attribute, tag class, and attribute. Okay, so don't confuse, guys, by seeing all these things. Don't worry, this is not that much important. So slowly you will understand. So after a few sessions, you will be more familiar with the CSS. Don't worry about this, because just I'm giving you the information. I don't want to make you confuse, okay, by seeing all of them. But you need to understand these much concepts are there. But we are not going to use all of them in our automation. We can simply write a CSS selectors and we will go with the automation. And even Selector Hub also will help us, very, very helpful this one. So we can automatically generate CSS for any type of element. You can just see here. Okay, but sometimes the Selector Hub gives you the full or complete CSS. And if you're not satisfied with that, you can create your own CSS. And if you want to create your own CSS, then you need this knowledge. Okay, otherwise, by simply remembering only 4 combinations, which I tell you at the end, right? These are the 4 combinations are more than enough to understand. Because most of the times we use these 4 combinations: tag ID, tag class, tag attribute, tag class attribute. If you know at least these 4 combinations, we will be able to write our own CSS. Okay. So that's it for today's class. And based on this, I will try to give one assignment. You guys can try, or else tomorrow I will explain it. So let's go back to this page. Again, same web page. So what you need to do, this assignment is based on yesterday's class and today's class. Okay. And you need to use all CSS locators. So in this particular page, first you need to get this logo element and check the visibility of the logo element. That's the first requirement. Or else I will write it here. Assignment. So I will provide the solution later. You guys can try. The first requirement is what? You need to launch application. So what is an application? This is your application. Okay. And the second step, you need to check, or we can say verify, logo presence or visibility. This is the second verification you need to do. And the third thing is you need to find products. So you can see there are multiple products are here under featured products. And in this, you need to find computer related products. Means what? You can see the product names are there, right? So in some product names, you can see a keyword called computer. So how many products are there with this keyword computer? Total 6 products are there. Among them, how many computer products are there? This is the 1, this is 2, 3, and 4 are there. Okay. So your requirement is you need to get those 4 elements or these 4 titles. Okay. You need to write a CSS properly, which will able to match with these 4 elements, whichever is having this computer. Accordingly, you need to design your CSS. Okay. So accordingly, you need to write your CSS. That should match with only 4 elements. Okay, now can you tell me how to do this? Just for your example, I'll tell you. So let me go to Selector Hub. Now, I want to write one CSS which is matching with the 4 products, whatever I'm looking from this list. So the product title should have a computer. That's my requirement. Okay, so first of all, let us inspect one of the title and see the DOM first of all. So if I look at the titles, the title is part of what? H2 tag. If I look at here, H2. And actually this div is also having, and you can look at another title. This is also part of H2 tag and anchor tag. And also look at another title, which is also part of H2 and anchor tag, right? All the titles are there in the part of anchor, and which is again child element of H2. So I'm going to write an absolute CSS. When I say only H2, 7 elements are matching. Again, which includes all of them. But in those 7 elements, I want to capture only this A. Not all H2s are having A, right? Suppose this is also H2 tag, but it doesn't have any link inside this. But these are also H2 tags, but it is having anchor tag. So I want to get this anchor tag from H2. How to get it? There's an immediate child using greater than. So now H2 at anchor tag. How many elements are there? Totally 6 elements. Again, in these 6 elements, I want to grab the elements which are having computer is a keyword. Now we need to filter them, right? So how to filter them? You can put one attribute here. What is that attribute? Where the computer keyword is available inside the href attribute, this is the one. And or else if I look at any other attribute here, you can see, you can look at this anchor tag, href tag. Here laptop is there. I don't have a computer. Similarly, if I look at this one, href tag, and here you can see the computer is there. So whichever the href attribute is having, href attribute should contain the computer keyword. That's my requirement. So how we can do this? If I say single A matching with all 6 elements, but I want to filter them. So we need to put href attribute. Href, and normally here we need to give the complete name, href name. But what I'm looking here is all the names should have a computer keyword. So I say only computer. See, 0 element still. But computer itself is not enough, right? Because there is something else. Build your own cheap computer. And here you can look at, say, build your own computer. Simple computer. Build your own expensive computer. There are other things also added with the computer. But I want to grab them, whichever is having computer is a keyword. Now tell me how to specify this. Simply star. We have seen, right? Start with, end with the star. Now we can see 4 elements. Now this particular CSS we have to use to grab all the products. That is our requirement. So now the third requirement is what? Capture all the computer related products. Okay, not only grab them, you need to count them. Products and verify the count. Verify the count. That's our requirement. So what is the count should be as per our expectation? Count should be 4. This is a requirement you need to use. So here I'm giving one clue. After writing the locator and getting all products, you need to use one method called count method. So that will actually give you the number of elements. And you can use one expect also. To have count is a one expectation is there, you can use it. You try your own, and tomorrow I will explain how to do this if you cannot. That's the one thing, guys. Okay, now the fourth requirement in the assignment is what? I want to print name of the first product, and fifth requirement is print name of the last product, and the sixth one, print name of the nth product. Name of the nth product. So I've already discussed this, how to get the first product last, because here in the third requirement itself, we got all the products. But among them, I want to get the first product and print the title. Get the last product, again print the title. Get the nth product, means first, second, last, whichever you want. And get the print the title. This is the 4, 5, 6 requirement. And seventh requirement, print titles of titles of all the products. All the products. So here we have a method called all text contents. So I will introduce in the next class probably all text. You guys can try this. If you're not able to complete, I'll tomorrow I will cover this part. Okay. All text contents is a method which will actually get the text of all the products. So this is a method. I'm just giving one tip and follow this. So print the titles of the all the products, titles of all products. This is a seventh requirement. And also finally, eighth requirement, in the same page, you need to verify footer links. If I come back to the footer part, so here there are multiple links. So do you see any link here? You can say Google Plus link is there. And also you see Twitter link is there. And Facebook. So you need to find out which one is the first link, last link. First link, last link, and nth link. Nth link. So you can just try this out. So these are the links. Get the first, last, and nth link from the footer. From the footer section. Okay, so these are all the requirements. So you have to use all CSS locators. And to count the number of products, we need to use a method called count. And even though without count also we can do that. But here, if you want to grab the titles of all the products, you need to use something called all text contains method. Okay, this is one tip. Just try to do this. Even if you're not able to do this, leave it, not a problem. In tomorrow's session, I will explain how we can do this. Okay. So I will also upload the solution for this. I can just go through and try. You can easily understand this. If you understand today's class, the solution what I'm giving for this is easy to understand. Okay. So that's all for today's class, and tomorrow we will continue with the rest of the topics.